What gets you hired? What is it?
Give us the secret sauce.
I wish I had the secret sauce. I'm still a little nervous going into recruiting season.
You worked at IBM 2 summers ago.
IBM.
You had
Okay,
offer
I
from
guess
Apple,
here's the thing.
That's crazy. Apple?
Yeah, that
and she turned it down.
What?
She's working at Uber.
Yep, driving for Uber.
No, not yet. But okay, yes. Continue.
Hello? Oh.
Hello.
Okay, I think it's working.
Cool.
Okay, we ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of Finding Zeal. If you're new here, I'm Cohen.
I'm
This is
Josh.
my co-host Josh. Yep, I just interrupted you. But today marks a very important day in the
Yep,
Finding Zeal
very
podcast.
important.
We have on our very first guest on the podcast today, which is really exciting. Josh,
So
you want to
excited.
introduce her?
Yeah, her name's Hannah Lei. She's one of my best friends. She's really cool. She interned at Lockheed with me for a while,
Ooh.
and then went on to bigger and better things. She recently crashed her bike. Yep, and she also ran a triathlon with me very recently.
Oh, dang.
I've known her since high school. She's pretty cool, but she can, I guess, talk about herself more on the podcast. So,
Okay, welcome up, Hannah.
Come on in.
These headphones on.
Hannah, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Of course. This is
Are
super
you-
cool. I've never been on a podcast before.
Yeah.
Um,
We've
think-
never been on a podcast.
Yeah,
I
before
don't think I
either.
have enough stuff to be spouting on a podcast, but we'll see how this goes.
Hey, Josh has prepared some really intense questions for you, so
I had a feeling. I saw him clacking in my car on the way here.
Yeah, I was making some questions on the way here, but I know you asked the cereal question. Do you want to do that?
yeah, okay. So basically our plan is every guest we have on the podcast, we want to ask them what is their favorite cereal and how much milk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get a lot of looks when I make cereal in the morning if there's other people around, mainly because I'll put in milk first.
Oh,
I don't know
what?
if that's like a,
I didn't even know you did that.
yeah, hot take. But I think the reason for that is I don't want to keep having to, first off, pour more milk in. But if I put enough milk in, I put some cereal in, just a tiny bit. I sprinkle it on top, and I eat it up while it's crunchy. And I don't want it to be soggy. So
Okay.
that way the milk is always there, but I'll pour
So
in
you
like
just
a
pour
little
more
bit.
cereal in
Yeah.
as you go.
Mhm.
Wow.
And I think
Interesting.
that's-
So it's
yeah.
not soggy. So it's not
No.
as soggy.
And I think sogginess is a big issue across.
No, yeah, sogginess
Oh,
sucks.
cereal.
I don't
It's
like
the worst.
sogginess either,
Yeah. And
Maybe
but I
it's
still
the
pour my milk
solution.
second.
Maybe I should try the technique out.
Dude, that's so
Yeah.
funny. You mentioned that we would have somebody.
I
you
didn't
mentioned that.
Think
I think
it was
we-
gonna be my friend.
Well-
though.
I thought it was going to be like a while before we ran into somebody.
Yeah. First,
Here I am.
First
Who knows? Maybe we're in the minority, Josh.
Yeah.
Maybe-
Openly proud of it as well.
That's
you
so
identify
funny.
as milk first. Yeah.
But my
Okay.
favorite cereal, since I didn't answer that
Oh, yeah,
question.
Oh, yeah.
I used to say Raisin Bran. I used to like Raisin Bran, which is also kind of
So you're just
embarrassing.
weird
I
all
remember
over.
being in like 7th grade and saying like, "Hey, do y'all have any Raisin Bran?" And we had like Fruit Loops and Frosted Flakes, and no one wanted Raisin Bran. But I don't know. Someone told me it was healthy, which I don't know why I had any business minding that when I was in like 6th grade. But I like the crunchiness. It kind of tastes like hay bales.
Hey,
That's
Dale.
what you want when you're looking for
and
cereal.
Frosted Mini Wheats are
Oh,
also
yeah.
pretty solid.
That was mine.
So-
Frosted Mini Wheats.
Yeah,
Those are the
So two
absolute
healthy
best.
ones, huh?
yeah. I guess I don't
Very
eat cereal
mindful.
too often anymore.
Ah,
I'm more of
okay.
an almond milk kind of gal.
Ooh, you're full of hot takes with cereal.
Yeah, for real. Obviously.
That's crazy. Okay, and another question we want to ask every guest
Okay.
is, what did you want to be when you were growing up? Like in elementary, when, like some
Okay.
people want to be firefighters.
Yeah,
Josh wanted to go to space.
Yep.
really.
I wanted to be an astronaut. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
For the longest time.
So what was your like dream job when you were growing
Yeah,
up as a kid?
this one's also a pretty interesting one. I used to want to be, well, I think from like kindergarten to like 3rd grade, I wanted to be a garbage truck collector because I would see them in my, like I'd look out the front door and they'd just be swinging off and like looked like they were having the best time. And I think I first told my brother, and I was like trying to get a feel for if this was okay or not. I was just like, oh my gosh, that would be so fun. And he gave me like the most, nothing against garbage truck collectors. I still kind of want to try that. But he was just like, what? Why?
I've actually heard they get paid really well.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I'm gonna look it up
They
right now.
probably work a ton of hours, though.
Oh.
That's probably why they get paid well.
It sounds like a very taxing job, having to hang off a truck.
Yeah.
And just haul a bunch
Yeah,
of
I feel like you could
big,
get
heavy
injured
bags.
very easily, too.
Yeah.
Dude,
So-
I just looked it up, and apparently they make close to $70,000 a
That's
year.
pretty good.
Wow.
More than teachers.
Yeah.
More than double teachers.
It's
most
because
of the
I
time.
think it's because not many people want to deal
Yeah,
trash
yeah.
every day, so they have to pay them kind of well.
Yeah, it's
But for
probably
like a
expensive.
non-skilled job,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like super good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I told my mom, and she was like, yeah, let's think about this before we start going around telling people you want to be a garbage truck collector.
And then,
But, yeah.
and then you wanted to be a cashier, right?
Yeah, I was I still do, actually. That's one of my, not like, that's one of the things I want to do just for the experience. I wish like places would let you not test out a job, but like experience a job. Even
Yeah.
I might pay for the experience to be a cashier or
Yeah.
to be a garbage truck collector and not have to go through the whole like background check, onboarding, and kind of just get that one day.
There
of
should be like a
experience.
college class where you just get to try everyday jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's
today,
what I want.
I don't think anyone is going to share that thought with you very often.
I'm hoping there's someone out there, because the source of me wanting to be a cashier was mainly the clackiness of the cash registers.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate because then we'll touch up on I just really like the clacking sound of keyboards. I wouldn't say that's the sole reason I got into the major I am right now, but it's definitely a big factor. But yeah, I wanted to be a cashier because of how, I don't know, my experiences with cashiers was always great. Dude.
That's good.
And just for context, Hannah was the valedictorian of her class in high school, and she wanted to be a cashier and a
I
garbage truck
did, yeah.
disposal person.
I mean, that's one thing about me I feel like is just I don't take things as seriously in general going through life.
Please tell me you mentioned that in your valedictorian speech. You're like, I'm
Um,
going off to college to
honestly-
be a cashier.
I should have. That speech doesn't need to come up anywhere. I really hope there's no record of it because I don't know why they let me talk for like 5 minutes and go on and on. But yeah, I think recently when I just graduated, I looked back on the speech because I was going through my Google Drive and I was just like, this is still here. And I read it and some of the stuff, I like tried to be inspirational with the quotes. And I was like, this, like a Roman philosopher Seneca once said, and I was like, I don't even know who that is. I must have looked it up. I'm just fully exposing myself here. But I also thought, I made jokes thinking, it's just hard to write in. You can't
Yeah,
really,
you
write in
don't. You
jokes.
can't
Yeah,
gauge
yeah.
like
But,
how the crowd's reaction.
But I like said something dumb about like kick 'em Colts. That was our like school's
Yeah.
Colts thing.
She went to Arlington High, one of the
Arlington High.
rival high schools to my high school.
Yep.
And just for context, what was the graduating class?
I don't know, like how
800 something, right?
800?
Yeah, and
Maybe.
she was valedictorian, so very impressive.
That is very impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know. People say that, and I just should say thanks. But looking back on high school, honestly, okay, not like high school. I don't know what the percentage is, but like that's like the bottom line expectation for like most people graduate high school.
Mhm.
So I would
Yeah.
say it's not. I don't think I'm so much different than. I'm sure there were a lot of other students who were like working a lot harder than I was, who also deserved to be like up there. But I don't know.
So
I don't
in
know.
elementary school and high school, would you say you worked like exceptionally hard? Like, were you passionate about
I
it or
always-
like liked it or anything or what?
Yeah, I always had. I don't know when it started, but my dad a couple weeks ago was like, "Yeah, you always like to get straight A's," and I was like, "I guess I did," but it was more of I guess I really liked learning when I was in elementary school, and also like they had those little fun games in class where it'd be like two people standing in a line, and then you'd have a math problem, like a simple math problem. And that really, like, that really drove me into
That got you going.
That got me going. I was screaming those answers out.
4.
Yeah. What's 2 + 2? And I like, basically, if you didn't get the answer first, you get booted. So, like, it was, like, pretty high stakes.
Yeah.
And, like, you get a prize at the end. And everyone, you know, unfortunately, I
Lost
just was
to you.
good at that little math game. But yeah, and then my brother, I have an older brother, he's 2.5 years older, and he was, I guess I wouldn't say he was super studious. He was like pretty smart, and I remember he like did well in his classes as well. So I kind of would just, you know, expected like, oh, I would also do well in my classes. But it was tough because he is like your stereotypical, like, I'm going to say like a 12-year-old boy personality who like has ADHD and is just always playing games in class, and all the teachers were so fed up with him. So whenever I would get to the teacher's class,
There was a
they
reputation.
were like, Lei? Your last name, are you
Are you related to
Christopher's
him?
brother? I mean, sister? And I was always like, yeah, like, I mean, it was always a struggle, I think, going into elementary school. I had to, you know, build up my own personality and, like, be known for my own, who I am, instead of just, like, I'm related to him. And that happened in junior high and then in high school. And so that gave me a little more, I feel like I was just like, I want to, like, you know, make sure that I don't just kind of follow in my brother's footsteps and just be my own person. It was a little difficult at the beginning of high school because we were both in orchestra.
Yeah.
And I was a freshman, so I didn't want to be speaking up too much. And my brother was a senior, and I was just quietly. But I remember every morning we would drive to school together, and he was always late. I was late too. But we would be like zooming on these speed bumps, and I'd try and catch some extra Z's in the back, and I'd just be flying up in the car. And I'd get to the orchestra room, and like in front of the whole orchestra, he would like look at me, and he was like, Hannah, what are you wearing? And I got so embarrassed. I think that was like the first week of school. And I honestly, I don't know what I was wearing. I had some questionable outfit choices. But for him to like say that, and everyone kind of was quiet and listening, I think I attribute a lot of my tough skin and my ability to kind of bounce back immediately if I get roasted by someone to him. To like, I was bullied, rightfully so. I think if I weren't bullied, I would have been really annoying, more annoying than I already am. So I feel like everyone has to get a little bit of bullying. Not that I, you know,
That's another hot take right there.
That is. Making y'all's first episode a controversial one.
Just all hot takes, apparently.
Yeah. But y'all know what I mean.
Yeah, brothers give you thick skin.
Exactly.
Yeah, my sister, she has me and 2 other brothers, and so she deals with a lot of crap all the time. And so all of her friends are like, they don't deal with stuff as well, and she's like, you should have brothers. It's nothing compared to what I have to go through at home.
Someone tells you you're ugly, you're an idiot, like, you're just like, I already heard it before. Nothing new to me.
Oh, man. That's hilarious. Well, we heard before the podcast that you had a singing career. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Oh, unfortunately, that did get out. I was out here fumbling with these headphones, and I asked them whether they usually put 1 year over it, 1 year off, 1 year on, and they both looked at me kind of confused, and I was like, well. So when I was a kid, I used to sing for this thing called Bible story songs. My best friend when I was a kid, Lauren, her grandma was running the production. So she's like, oh, you're a little kid. Like, you want to come sing? And I was like, wow, I'm going to be on a CD. And so anyway, we'd be in there, and they would always tell us to smile. They'd like put little sticky notes of like cute dogs or something. I guess that would make us smile. And we would just sing. And then we'd do blurbs as well, where we had to be very like animated in our voice before a song starts, like, oh, King Nebuchadnezzar, blah, 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 blah.
So you got practice for the podcast.
I did. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah, that was preparing you for this, pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's legendary. Is there anywhere we can find these gems?
Yeah, you can search on Spotify.
This
Bible
is an ad.
story songs. Not a plug, but if you have kids, they're in a car. That's like our most popular target audience we're going for.
Kids in a car.
Yeah, that's it.
Period.
Josh, you could listen to it
Yeah,
too.
pretty much. That's all I listen to. So you wanted to be a cashier. You wanted to be a garbage truck disposal person.
Yeah.
You wanted to sing. When did you actually figure out, like, in high school, like, maybe what you'd be interested in? Because you're comp sci.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, I just graduated with my bachelor's in computer science this past May.
From
then
Rice.
I'm going from Rice. And then I'm going back for a master's in computer science, but in a more, like, specialized way, I guess, because you have to select which field you're interested in. So I don't think I knew I wanted to do computer science. I didn't make the choice until, like, second semester in college, because all through high school, I actually went into Rice as a physics major, and someone should have just told me not to do that. I don't know why.
Only a select few can pull that off, really.
Yeah, definitely. And it was not for me.
And if you look at them, you're like, yeah, that's a physics
that's
major.
a physics
Yeah.
major. So in high school, I tried to do a bunch of different things in my extracurriculars so that I would know what I wanted to do. Which, helped with, like, if you're putting for, like, high school students, you have a well-rounded resume or whatever that means. And so that's kind of what...
to get into college, to get good jobs.
Yeah, to get in college, you got to have a resume. And so so I did stuff like teen court, where it was, you could be like a volunteer attorney.
Yeah.
And so like a prosecutor or a defense attorney. So that kind of drew my interest, but I also think I'm heavily influenced by what I watch, and obviously everyone is.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was watching Suits.
That's such a good show.
It is so good. I've watched it twice now, but I think that show, and just, the being up there in the on the stand, or even just, like, interrogating someone. I'd done it a lot to my brother.
Wait, so you were interested in being a lawyer?
Yeah.
So you went into school to be a physic.
Oh, here's the other detail.
How you're not tying these things in?
Yeah. So that was basically all of high school. I was just doing stuff all around. I also was really liked music, and I played the violin in the orchestra. And I thought about, like, I could
Busk.
What?
What's the word for it?
Busk. Yeah.
Yeah, I said it right.
Busk.
Then why
I
did
thought
you
said
look at
bust?
busking? Is when you're on the side of the road
Yeah,
and
I told
you're
my mom-
playing music
with
for
your
the
case
money.
out there,
Yeah.
and then people would put money in there. And I wanted to do it at this Tom Thumb by my house, and my mom was like, "That's not safe. Like, you come home." And
So you wanted to be everything. You wanted to do everything.
I honestly, I feel like I just really enjoyed. I mean, obviously, certain things that if you're not good at something, it's not as enjoyable. And I wasn't good at, like, some things. I wouldn't be like, "Oh, I want to do this or that." But for music, that was, like, a solid thing that I considered okay. But then, practically speaking, it's just a little tougher out there for professional musicians, unfortunately. But then, obviously, the more, like, traditional options, people will say, like, "Oh, go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, whatever." And then I was like, pre-med sounded familiar because my brother also went to school initially as a pre-med major or neuroscience major or something like that. And I had taken biology and chemistry in high school, but I got just kind of fed up with those natural sciences.
Yeah,
I
those are
was just
tough.
like,
they suck.
why is it so, like,
We're both engineers.
Yeah.
Yep.
especially physics. Y'all do a lot of physics, and I think
Yeah.
I loved physics in high school because of the teacher, and then that was where it ended. After
Yeah.
I graduated,
feel that.
I got to college, found out the intro physics class is really tough. So then I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. When I applied for colleges, I kind of just essentially closed my eyes and pointed at the screen for every single different college. I was just like, oh, it would be cool to do this at this college, or like what they offer. I'd look at I'd look at it and be like, oh, that looks interesting, and just hope for the best, basically, if they would accept me. And so ended up, I wanted to stay in Texas, and I was deciding between Rice and UT because my best friend at the time went to UT, and so that just seemed, yeah. I don't know, another hot take. No. So I decided I didn't put too much thought in it. And so I feel like looking back, obviously everything happens for a reason. So I wasn't, I'm sure my parents are praying for me, and in general, just, there was a plan for whatever happened, it would happen, and that was how it would be. And so I didn't really think too much. The day before the deadline for deciding what school you want to go to, I was out with my friends hanging out, and my mom was like, you need to like come home right now because you're supposed to tell where you want to go. And I was like, oh, this is so hard because I have no like both places would be nice. My brother's best friend went to Rice at the time and was there still when I went. And I called him because my brother's like, yeah, you should talk to Latne. Shout out to Latne. He was just the last person in my ear before I decided. So I went with Rice. And so that was what kind of drew me into that. Specifically computer science, I would say, I don't know, it was kind of just a novel idea to me because I didn't know too many people who did computer science. Actually, my dad, I think, studied computer science, but he was just zero help sometimes in high school when I took AP computer science. I was horrible in AP computer science. Like, by that, I shouldn't have gone into computer science. So, a lot can change between high school and college, and especially, like, even though, like, going into college, you get beat to a point where you don't care about your grades anymore because you're just getting such bad grades as an engineer major. And like, if you're in the engineering school, it's going to be tough. So
every school, pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
Don't want to call it any other ones.
General studies.
Education.
Hi, Annie in theory. No, so yeah. I was used to getting straight A's, and then suddenly I'm getting like 30s, and I'm just like, I'm not super affected by, I could have been, like, oh no, this is the end of the world. But then I thought about it, and I was like, everything's gonna go on. Like, it's not the end of the world. Sure, that didn't help with like my study habits because I'd just be like, oh, I have a test tomorrow, but either way, tomorrow will come and pass. But yeah, that's kind of my mentality that how it transitioned through high school into college. So got me.
Yeah, you were always just kind of interested in everything, and then somehow made a decision on college. Exactly. It seems like a lot of people, high schoolers, college students, like no one's necessarily like dead set on anything coming into college, and so like expecting like a high school senior who's dealing with so much stuff like puberty and girls and boys and everything to like make a decision that's going to impact like their whole life is so hard. Like they try to prepare us, but it's just like so hard to give like the full range of what you can do. And like college seems like it's the only option, like when it sometimes isn't. Like there's other options as well. And so like everyone is in that spot of like kind of just like, oh, I'll pull this thing out of the hat, and like maybe I'll figure it out.
And you like don't know until you try. Like you haven't had experience. Like, well, for you got really valuable experience. Like not pretending to be a lawyer, but doing the
basically pretending to be
doing the teen court.
Yeah.
I went to teen court once as a convict, I guess.
No way.
Tell us.
I had a car crash right when I turned 16, got my license, and like a week later totaled my car.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was. It was not good. So
I
had to like go there to get, I guess, convicted and pay my fee or whatever. And then I also had to serve time there as on the jury.
Oh yeah.
And so that was pretty cool, honestly.
It was. That's kind of how I started. I started as a jury member, and I was so quiet in the jury room in the back because I was kind of observing, and I was kind of also the only person who was there not by choice. Yeah. Everyone else was serving time.
Was like me.
Yeah. And so they didn't really, some of them in Arlington, didn't want to be there. They're just like, I just have to serve my time. and I'm over there, like, they're just wondering what I'm doing there because I don't have to be there. And so I learned a lot of, I think being a jury member, it helped with just speaking up in general. Yeah. But I would say I'm also pretty introverted when I'm in a group setting that I don't know, and that was every single jury session. So that helped just with speaking. And then being a volunteer attorney, it also helped with, like, I think, so before the trial or case or whatever, hearing, you would, like, talk to the defendant, and you'd basically prep them for, like, the stand. And I took it pretty, like, depending on what side I was on, it was random. So if I was a prosecutor, you're arguing for the state, and you want, like, the harshest punishment. Excuse me. And then for the defense attorney side, you're trying to help out this kid who, you paint a picture. I always was confused because I was like, there's always right and wrong growing up. I'm like, it's black and white. And then I was like, how do they decide, like, who's right and wrong if everyone thinks they're right here in the in the courtroom? Because both lawyers are, like, experienced, eloquent in their speaking, and both are arguing for their sides in a pretty, like, convincing way. So I was always I think that's where my core curiosity for joining teen court was, like, how does the court system work? And that was kind of the only reason. I just wanted to see what went behind the scenes and why people sometimes win even though they're not supposed to win, why people, just because they don't have a better attorney, it's very subjective inside the courtroom. So that's the biggest thing I learned from that.
Yeah. Well, one question I have is, so you said you were thinking you maybe want to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
What, like, was there something that, like, happened that you're like, oh, this was terrible, I don't want to be a lawyer? Or was it just kind of like...
That's a good question. I think I always kept it as a possibility in my back pocket, I guess, thinking about, like, law would be fun. I would go to grad school or law school, and that would be, like, what, 2 or 3 or 4 years?
I have no clue.
But so it seemed interesting. I don't know. I've heard from people that law school is very, like, books and heavy reading and studying, and obviously because you just have to become familiar with the law and cases and reading, and it sounded fun. And that I think there was a big turning point, which was unrelated to going to law school, more so related to, like, what I envisioned after college for me. Yeah. And I just was like, I want to be done with college as soon as possible. And that was my mindset. That's why I kind of knocked out pre-med. Law school, if I, maybe suddenly change my mind, you can still go to law school later on. But as far as pre-med, that's what struck out that option for me.
Yeah, and it sounds like it didn't seem like one of those was like, I have to be that. Yeah. Like, I have to be that. And those kind of people are, like, those people are the people that do it. You know, people that are like, I have to be a lawyer. Like, that is what I see myself as and what I see myself enjoying my life as. And then, like, pre-med, it's like the same thing. Like, I feel like you can't make those decisions about those things without being convicted, or, like, if you are making that decision for those things, it's, like, for money, and you're not going to enjoy it, and it's going to suck.
No, definitely. I think a lot of the drive for, like, pre-med law school was, like, being a kid. I remember in classes, like, your first exposure to, like, what money is, or even, like, being like, oh, what makes the most money? So a lot of people will be like, oh, doctors, lawyers, and that's kind of the default. But yeah, I don't know. I also considered for a second, like, how long my life is versus what I want to be doing during all of that time. And I think it's just obviously being a doctor is very, like, it's a honorable thing and it's very respected. But it is a busy and, like, stressful environment, I feel like.
I feel like work-life balance is a little
work-life balance. I guess it boiled down to work-life balance for me. And that's kind of how I picked what I wanted to do.
It sounds like also you tried a ton of things, and I feel like that's a really good thing to do for people who are looking for what they want to do. Because like if you're giving yourself a lot of exposure to things that could be your career, you're gonna find out quicker and better what you want to do, you know?
Yeah, like Cohen said, of like, you don't even know what it's like, honestly. You're gonna pick something, but you don't even know what it's like on the job. I think that's what helped with, honestly, I don't even know if what I experienced was exactly what happens on the job, but even like volunteering in a hospital, it helped with like giving me an idea of what people do day to day, because people wouldn't, that was another big question. I was like, what exactly do people do for like this job, for that job? I just didn't know. I just always knew it as a title. And even in college, having a general major, you don't even know what specific role you're going into. So I think I've learned, I guess most college students figure it out quickly. But yeah, that was a big question.
So you interned with Lockheed Martin with me in high school. How do you think that affected where you are now?
Oh, that was every experience has helped me, I think.
Well, I guess we should probably give an intro to Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin is an engineering company that is a defense contractor for the government. They make the F-22s, F-35s, F-16s, a ton of different airplanes. It's aeronautical primarily, and have just a ton of opportunities for engineers, IT,
honestly,
comp sci.
all kinds of people.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
It's like one of the most mechanical engineers I talk to, or a lot of aerospace guys, that's like their dream place to work.
Yeah, and Hannah and I both got into it pretty early.
That is crazy.
I'm still out there.
He's still
Hannah's
there, yeah.
moved
Josh
on.
is an engineer there right now.
Yes, but sorry, continue. How did that affect where you are now?
Yeah, and so in high school, we were in our senior year, and I was kind of like, there was this like internship thing during the school year. You could take a class for...
And it was $11 an hour as well that you made.
For Lockheed?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, before Lockheed, I wanted to do the Texas Rangers one.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
But that one, I talked to, like, the career advisor or something, and she was like, yeah, I would suggest you apply the Lockheed one, because you don't get paid in the Texas Rangers one, and I think you have a good chance going to the Lockheed. And so I was like, okay, like, I like physics, which is my idea of what mechanical engineering is at the time. So I applied, and then we both, I guess I knew Josh from just around the city.
We both knew Annie.
Yeah.
One of our good friends.
And then we were in the same internship. And I think, so for that, I said my interest was physics, and I wanted to do stuff related to that. So they put me on a team that was very, like, honestly, obviously you can't give a high schooler, they don't know anything. So, like, what am I going to do?
An F-35 design and expect us to improve it.
Yeah. Not a chance. So I would be there making, doing stuff that's can be explained and like easily picked up. And I don't know, I didn't think I got the broad perspective in that short amount of time, which is impossible. But I also didn't like what I had experienced that much. I felt like a big company for me. I felt like I would be doing something and then I don't really know what happens. Like, does it affect anything? What's the long-term effect of what I'm doing here? But again, I was a high schooler.
What were you actually working on? Like, what kind of things?
I think at that time I was on a team called Load and Dynamics or something, and they handled the load on the wings and they did those calculations. And I was doing RFIs as well, which was requests for informations that countries would be like, oh, I might want to buy these planes. So then I put together like a report of like different configurations they would like. And I remember I did one for Germany, and I was just, kind of, I don't know if I was bored or just feeling artsy. I started I changed the background to like the German flag, and I added like red, black, and yellow, like to help with, And I remember I sent it to my manager, and he sent it back without all of that.
Oh.
And it was just unsaid, like remove those things,
He did it himself.
Yeah, he did.
That's so funny.
So that was pretty funny, and I was like, oh, sorry. And then after that, our first year into college, we also went back to Lockheed. I was on a different team.
So you were kind of got the impression the first time you were there that you weren't interested in some really big company? Is that kind of what you're saying?
The first time I was still having a possibility, that I might be at Lockheed for a long time.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Like
I don't even, like Josh, and I think for Josh, he's a mechanical engineer. So they're like doing a lot of mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
It's a heavy, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so then I didn't want to necessarily study mechanical engineering. I had gone into college. Well, my first internship there when I was in high school, I still thought it was like, oh, it's a great opportunity. I could stay here. I don't know anything else. And it was a great like backup plan kind of, because I still wanted to figure out. It just didn't like get me super excited every day. Which I'll be honest, I don't know if any work would be like, oh, I love to work.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find that, but
yeah,
there's definitely more that are like, oh, like I don't hate this, or like I enjoy this to an extent.
Exactly.
You're never gonna be like, oh my gosh, I have to go do this.
I think that's a huge misconception, with like people expecting what did I say? Misconception, misperception. Of like what people expect their work to give them. And I think especially for high school and college students, they're like, I gotta find something that like really is gonna like, I can do it out of work. I would want to do it, I would just push me a lot. And so there's like a fine balance between like stuff that you like to do and you find interest. Honestly though, now that I'm saying all this, I might just be, given my record of like high school doing all sorts of stuff and not really knowing like what I wanted to do, I think personally I have a harder time like sticking and with something and thinking like this is it, like I really want to do this, and I guess it's just a journey of doing stuff and not wanting to do that, doing something else. Maybe that's not for you, and just even so gaining the experience along the way is worth it.
Yeah. I think it reminds me, I can't remember if I said this in one of the other episodes, but my dad says that college is not about finding what you want to do, but it's about finding out what you don't want to do.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
And so, you just try one major and you might switch, and you try internships and you try a bunch of stuff. And most likely you're not going to like most of it.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Wait, so your second internship with Lockheed, you got interested in AI, right?
Yeah, I told them, I came back from school and I was like, I'm a computer science major now, so give me something related to that. So I was put on the high performance computing team, and I only knew computers, like laptops, and they have 16 cores. And then suddenly I'm working on this team where they have the whole basement at Lockheed is just like all these big compute nodes, and it's just like computers, supercomputers, just tons of them. And I was working with my mentor called Doug. He was super nice. He graduated from UT, and he was like this 60-year-old man. And it was just me and him working. And
good old Doug.
Yeah, good old Doug. He actually was super nice. He's like one of my mentors, I guess I'd consider, because he helped write my recommendation letter for grad school, and he's just will send me emails occasionally of cool stuff to do with that. But even though it was a great experience, I also don't think I liked what I did there that much. And to be honest, again, I think my personality, it's hard to find something that I don't know. I feel like I get bored pretty quick is the issue. So yeah, that was that. I had that internship basically, it was my freshman year to sophomore year, which is a hard summer to find an internship.
Yeah, most people don't get internships after the freshman year.
So I figured, this is my best option. So yeah, that was what I did that year. And then I think coming back, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. The big company feel, I didn't love it, but I think also, working with people that you would be friends with is very important.
Yeah.
And my mentor this summer was telling me that's the one most important thing you consider is can you be friends with these people? Because we used to be in a very business professional kind of culture where you go to work and you have this facade, everyone's nice, you're professional. You're not going to show your personality too much because you're just there to get work done. But actually now with like, being everything, especially the industry I'm in, it's very collaboration oriented, and you just need to work with people in order to get stuff done. And at that point, you're wanting to, have your natural disposition at least match a little bit with your team so that you can get stuff done and not like clash with anyone, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, the reason for me saying this is because when I was at Lockheed, all of my teams were, no one really looked like me. I was in the teams with the middle-aged old white men.
Yep. At my internship right now, I work just in like a cubicle in an office doing like supply chain stuff, and like everybody's like 40 or 50, and so I'm kind of I feel that a lot.
The funny thing is right now I have the opposite. So I'm trying to hire on with my team right now. And I think part of the reason is 4 of the guys I'm working with are college age and want to hire on as well. And like, we're like best friends. Like I hang out with them outside of work and then really enjoy my time with them. And then I think that makes the work more enjoyable as well. Exactly. So I think that's a really good like thing to think about when looking for a job or even thinking about a career is like, can you vibe with the people, can you enjoy the people you're working with as well?
You've got a fun group. Y'all go rock climbing and disc golf and
it's pretty fun.
All the Josh things.
All the things I enjoy. So.
Maybe it's just Josh dragging them along.
It's just me making them do
He's just
stuff
bugging them all the time, like, guys, want to play disc golf?
On Skype.
Hey, you want to play disc golf?
Just like, hey.
In my email with, hey, we good for rock climbing later?
P.S.
After a long just email about work and then just end it right there.
But it's true, like it's more fun to dig a ditch with your best friends than to like make tons of money doing something with people that you absolutely hate.
Yeah, definitely.
And so
I think that's good advice. But okay, so then after that you quit Lockheed. You stopped Lockheed. So you started looking for other stuff, right? What was that like?
It was a little bit stressful because at my school, Rice's culture is very friendly compared to the other schools at that, like, where everyone's super competitive.
Because it's the size of high school pretty much.
It is, yeah. I know, like, I've seen basically everyone there.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's like, I think 4,000 undergrad.
Yeah, which is the same size as my high school.
I know somebody else that goes to Rice.
Oh, really?
He's going into his junior year. So you might not know him. His name is John Daniel. Do you know?
Oh, I don't think so. But do you know what college he's at, or like residential college?
Some like entrepreneurship or sales, maybe, or.
Oh, I don't know.
He's African American.
Also, disclaimer: I haven't been on campus for over a year.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
I don't think I know anyone at this point. Maybe just the people in my grade. But yeah, hopefully I'm going back this fall, so I'm excited to meet everyone that I was supposed to meet.
Yes, but career fair. What were those like? What was trying to find a job
fairs
like?
Oh my gosh. So computer science, it's like becoming a hot, commodity. Everyone is doing it. Everyone's hiring for it. So the career fairs were always, everyone's hustling and bustling with, it's all computer science stuff related. And I felt bad for like, the humanities majors or like even civil engineering. You only have a couple of options. Sorry to call out civil engineering. I guess like any sort of other.
We still love you, civil engineering.
Civil engineering just catch a stray out of nowhere.
They were just vibing in the corner and they just took a blow to the jaw.
Yeah. So similar to like any sort of like the college application process, the medical school situation, or like prepping yourself to be like a valuable person that someone would want at their college or like at the medical school, that whole process is the same in like recruiting. So computer science, there's like stuff you need to know. Like if you're on the ends, you know the details. If you don't know, then you're just out of luck. And what I mean by that is like if things as small as like I guess it's not as big of a secret society as I'm saying it is. It's more like if you know how to market yourself properly and you know how to like list well what you have done, or like in high school you wanted to have a lot of extracurriculars, that kind of thing. Like some people and even like if they maybe are first generation college student, have a harder time, which now there's a lot of help in like preparation, and people have a better time doing that. But I think there's that little bit of gatekeeping from like a long time ago when people didn't have parents who like what knew this stuff. And the same thing goes for like computer science, because it's kind of a relatively new field that with like pre-med, you know, you want to volunteer and a lot of little things, I guess, which like I don't even know too much.
What gets you hired? What is it?
Give us the secret sauce.
I wish I had the secret sauce. I'm still a little nervous going into recruiting season.
You worked at IBM 2 summers ago.
IBM,
you had
okay.
Offer
I
from
guess
Apple.
here's the thing.
That's crazy. Apple?
Yeah,
she turned it down.
What?
She's working at Uber.
Yep. Driving for Uber.
Nope, not driving for Uber. But okay, yes, continue.
It's more so yeah, like you do enough research that you would get to know the secret sauces in a way. It's not so much a gatekeep situation anymore, because people are being more open about their hiring and recruiting experiences, where they'll say like, okay, you want to simple stuff like going to this event or getting put down, getting a special link that's like for people. If you're if I go to this little like I want to say like trivia nights, they do game nights, like maybe Airbnb would come to our school and host something, and then if you go, you know, you just talk to the recruiter, just obvious networking stuff.
Just network and get out there.
Networking, honestly, I don't even know if there's
no specific things to put on your resume that get keyword searched.
Well, that's another big thing, like knowing which job you're applying to, and then making sure your resume is obviously, this is like kind of common career stuff, but
yeah, definitely.
But I feel like I didn't know, as far as coming out of Lockheed, what I needed to do. It's kind of a scramble, because I was just, you know, sending out applications as which ones. I didn't even have a choice. At one point I was like, ooh, this place looks cool. Yeah, this place looks cool. And then I was just like, yeah, I can't afford to be applying to like 2 places, because I'm going to get rejected from like, I won't get offers from any of them. So really, it's also a big numbers game. And I think a lot of people don't feel like, it's just like, you don't want to like be spamming all these applications, obviously, but still everything boils down to like, the more applications you put out, the higher chance you're gonna get. I think talking to some of my friends, like one of them, it's easy to feel like in computer science, I think imposter syndrome. Yeah. It's across everything as well. But I remember talking to one of my friends, and he was just like, yeah, I hate recruiting season here. Like everyone's so competitive, and it just feels like I'm behind and I don't know what I'm doing. And I just never get any like interview opportunities. Like they don't reach out, or after I submit an application, I don't get like a response back, basically. And it really is, I don't know. It's truly just a game where it's all a game where you just have to know what to do. And stuff is pretty obvious, like putting stuff on your resume that would be relevant to the job. Yeah. But a lot of the times it's like people know all of that and someone's doing the most, and then you don't know really what to do. And so I think that was what I learned for my first actual recruiting thing. And I got an offer from IBM in New York, and I was so excited. And I honestly, I'll tell you how the interview stuff went, because I think it really is just like you get lucky is what it is. Like you're at the right place at the right time. They ask you the right questions. And even a recruiter told me from Apple, they were like, don't be disheartened if you don't get a response, if you get rejected so many times, because it just is like right place, right time.
Yeah,
right
like
person.
Someone likes you. Yeah. Your uncle works for the company.
A little bit of
blah,
nepotism
blah, blah.
sprinkled
in
there.
I feel like it's always that.
I mean, I'm sure that's a possibility, which, you know, that's just how it is.
Like when I got hired for Lockheed, it was just kind of by chance, because the department I was going to was only supposed to take 2, but they interviewed 3.
Oh no.
And I was kind of talking to her about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not interested in coding at all. And she's like, oh, well, this is a coding internship. And I was like, oh my goodness,
just kidding. I love typing.
Yeah. And then pretty much the reason I got it was because she didn't want to like have someone lose that opportunity to do this internship. and she made the position. I mean, I still did coding because I ended up being like, oh, like I'm really interested by it still, but I don't really like it that much. And pretty much made the position. But obviously if someone else was in that same spot, like there was tons of people that got cut from this Lockheed internship.
Yeah.
And if someone else was, if it was some other manager, like I wouldn't have gotten it. You know what I'm saying?
I think about that all the time. That's why I feel like even with like high school, like you say, that's kind of my mentality of like, I don't know if it's so much my skill or, you know, obviously there's like you have to try, but there's so much luck with everything. Just like that's just, you know, your right place, right time, even in high school and college. I think with this IBM last summer that this internship I did, they asked like a question that I had so coincidentally, which okay, maybe it's like preparation. That's kind of the whole idea, I guess, behind interview preparation is doing enough to where you know what's gonna happen, but you also can't control like the chances. I guess that helps your chances of coming and having a question that is familiar. But the question I had was literally a project I had just done like that last week, and I told him, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just did this, like, is it okay if I just do what I did for this last week? It was like a school project or like this problem. Yeah. And he was like, oh my gosh, yeah, go like just do that. And I was like, wow, honestly, I like that's how it is for every company. I feel like it's really just, I guess it boils down to how much you prepare, but also, you know, it's your chances. Like I felt like every rejection really hurts, but then it really doesn't, because you just throw them out and then something catches, right place, right time. That's kind of how I see it. I mean, you know, you have to have the skills to back whatever you end up doing.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a lot of, like, my friends I'll see get so sad or like discouraged about like one rejection, and they don't realize that I even could have been rejected if I had gotten, you know, a question I didn't know, and it's just how it is. So that's good.
Yeah, I feel like this last semester I applied to a ton of internships, and I would say like 80% of them or 75% of them I didn't even hear back from. Like they were like, oh yeah, we'll get back to you in like a week or something, and then I still haven't heard back from them to this day.
Yeah.
And then
they contact you next week and they're like, hey, you're hired.
No, this is off topic, but one of my friends, one of the co-chairs in beta session, his name is Daniel Green, and he got a response from a job he applied for in high school.
Oh my gosh.
This last semester, they sent him an email like, we've decided to, we decided we're going in a different direction or something like that. And he was like, I applied to this like 4 years ago.
And they just rejected him.
Yeah. I don't know. That must have been some sort of like
a similar thing happened where I got like a rejection email like a couple months ago from Walmart, and I was just like, okay.
It was like, applied to Walmart?
Yeah.
How long ago?
I don't know. It was a while back. I don't even remember. I think at that, you know, I was truly just like, this role seems interesting. I'll apply for it. This seems interesting. I don't really know if I like have any experience, but at that time I truly had no experience, so I could literally apply for it.
It's funny that Walmart would reject you and Apple would offer you a job.
Yeah.
I think that just shows the luck and the like, you know,
I think it does a little bit, yeah.
But that's also, I know Walmart, they wouldn't want to hire somebody who they think would just be like move on.
Yeah.
So like overqualified, you know, they don't want to hire people that are overqualified to work for them, because they want people that are going to stay at Walmart and not just like work there for like 3 months and then
get a better job.
Yeah, move on.
Like,
yeah.
So honestly, I don't think they hire that many college students. Maybe in like college towns, some, but
yeah.
Anyways, it was just a random thought. So at IBM, so you're not working there anymore.
No.
So what was your experience there? Like, was it good? Was it bad?
Yeah. So I was put on a team. My title was a cognitive software engineer, and I was super excited and happy about that, because I feel like my interest in computer science is not so much in the like nitty gritty, you know, hardware, like super low level stuff. And I really would rather be on the side of like more closer to like human interaction, and like that's the cognitive side of like knowing, like dealing more with like machine learning and artificial intelligence, I think is what that role was marketed as. And so my team was their internal search engine, their enterprise search engine. And I had never worked with search engines, obviously, so it was all new to me. And my mentor was this super cool girl who's like 20 something. Her name was Audrey. And she was just like, you know, it really makes or breaks depending on who your mentor is.
Yeah.
She was so nice to me, super outgoing and like welcoming, and like just, I think the main thing was telling me like, hey, it's okay. You don't feel like you need to know everything. Like, ask questions if you don't know, like it's fine. And she was just really cool. She lived in this little log cabin in Connecticut because that was like peak quarantine time, and she had bought a little cabin out there. So she had this pretty background. But the team was also pretty cool. It was pretty small, like 10 people, I want to say. They were based in New York. They said they would do like, they used to do, you know, after work, they'd go and eat together, and it seemed like a cool team. What I did, I was working in Python, and I was making a genetic algorithm for their search query optimization. And so the internship was structured a lot more like focused on, they had like a pretty fleshed out like intern program, obviously.
Yeah.
So they wanted us to like report a project at the end, a presentation, record it, say like, you know, what was the effect? Like, I would be like, okay, I increased the performance by 56%. And I really liked just the aspect of like building something end to end and then having a result that I could see that was going to be pushed to production. And that just was like, oh, okay, I can do this. Like, or at least, you know, I just felt like I didn't have that sort of feeling whenever I didn't know like if I was qualified to even be in the job. It just, you know, that's how experience is. And so the reason I didn't stay there, I got a return offer, but my perspective was that my internship experiences, I wanted them to be as different as possible.
Yeah.
And you also, I don't know, I'm on my last internship, so you think a lot more about your one before you graduate. Mm-hmm. So because that's Definitely. The one you want a return offer, hopefully, or you could even find another place, but it would still be a more like realistic place for you that you would want to be at. And IBM has this, they're a pretty old company.
Yeah.
And just that was it. It felt like it was a very like
old-fashioned,
old company. Not really, you know, they were doing new stuff. They have their cloud, they have Watson, they have a lot of new technologies, not competing in the same space as like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft. So they're doing their thing. I felt like the culture was fine. I think mainly I was just like, I wanted a different experience. Like it wasn't so like enticing to me to go back another year and be with the same team.
That's very smart. I think getting different experiences is probably one of the best things you can do. Yeah. Because you already have that IBM on your resume. Mm-hmm. So to go back another year and do a similar thing, it wouldn't really change that much what you put on your resume. And also, I don't know what you're doing right now, but you get to like a new experience that you might like even more.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. And I know some people might get a great gig, you know, sophomore, like for mechanical engineering, Lockheed Martin is a great gig, and so that's worth sticking it out. And like, you know, you have
high school,
you know, you have a solid future there. So like, it's really to every case of the major and even like what you prefer. But yeah.
So you've done all these things. What do you want to? What is ideal after college? You have one year left. Are you thinking about that? Or are you going to plan on that this senior year? Or got any plans?
I actually need to start thinking about that because recruiting season is fall. And then I ideally would want to sit out. But, you know, if I want to go back to Uber, then...
Full-time.
I don't know. I'm thinking a lot about like whether I would want to do that, like be there full time, like work 40 hours a week for the rest, of your life until you like switch jobs, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought too much about it. I think I'm tempted to not do any searching for jobs, but I think I might also want to go to a different place.
Yeah, so you don't want to search, but you also don't want to stay.
Yeah, so then that means I have to search. Or I should search at least.
And you're at Uber this summer?
Yes.
Okay, and do you work there like full-time, 40 hours a week?
Yeah, that's what my internship is.
She's always driving.
I am.
No, just
I actually, funny story, not super funny, I guess. I was so curious.
Well, so first, you do background stuff for the app, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, I work on the back end part of the platform. I'm on a platform engineering team, which means basically everything that Uber's built on their architecture, maintaining that. And since they are a pretty young company, I forget what year they started, I think 2008, they've been going through, and they experienced a lot of growth. So they had to put something together that worked quick and that could scale. And it would get messy, obviously, because, you can't really plan out an architecture that can scale before you even know it's going to need to scale.
Where it's going to go.
So they've been going through a lot of architecture changes, and our team is kind of the one that's doing that. And so that's what I mean by, I'm working on stuff that needs to work for the app, but I also am kind of curious about the side of the, the user experience and stuff like that. And that's another thing I've been trying to think about my experience hasn't been really with front end or user experience stuff, but I am curious about it. And so I've been talking to my mentor about I might be interested in this. Is there any chance, do people get to explore other roles in the company?
So your story kind of has to do with the front end, right?
Yeah. Well, another thing, I guess the team I'm working on actually is called Fulfillment or Marketplace. And they are dealing with the end-to-end when you request a ride or request a delivery all the way to it being fulfilled at the end. So you're kind of dealing with that framework. And Uber has different lines of businesses. So they've got Uber Eats, they've got Uber, they have Uber Health, all sorts of that. And so all sorts of stuff. So they're trying to just have a way to streamline, I guess, all of those things into one kind of pipeline. I think if anyone is on that team and hears this, they're probably going to be really confused. But yeah, so I'll just stop talking about too technical stuff because I don't know if I know what I'm talking about. But I was interested in Uber driving or being an Uber driver because, the joke was always oh, you're working for Uber, you're driving. And so, and I was just yeah. And so 4th of July, my mom is in California visiting my grandma, and my dad's at home. My brother's at his own place. I'm kind of just bored because my friends are out of town, kind of. Yeah. We were going to hang out, but I ended up Uber driving for I started in the afternoon. I downloaded the app. So we have as engineers, we get to see kind of the beta apps and work on stuff and see all the apps that everyone would use, the restaurants and the freight trucks.
And you get what, $200 a week to eat or something?
Yeah, or no, a month. They give us Uber credit that I usually use for delivery for Uber Eats.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like to treat us to a little.
No, I was probably talking too far away, but she gets $200 a month to eat at Uber Eats.
Yeah, that's a nice perk, and they have a lot of cool little perks, honestly. Any tech company does, to be honest. But I was downloading the app, and then I started going through the process. I was submit your background check, put in your insurance, all this information. And I was this is interesting. I kind of got more excited as I was going, and I was I really want to do this. And then I finally get approved. And so I'm just sitting on the couch. I'm looking at the app, and it says there's a blue button that says
driving.
go online.
Oh, go online.
And I'll like click it, but then I'll like start up on the start looking for rides, and I got like, oh well, actually I like stopped it because I was laying on the couch and I was like, I don't really want to get up and go drive someone around or go pick them up. But then so I kept playing with it, and I think I played with it a little too much because they obviously probably have some sort of algorithm that's like someone who is not actually wanting to drive is playing with this app.
Yeah.
And like we need people to drive. Like if a request comes out, we like there's a sort of responsibility or like reliability on the other side, on the driver's side. So anyway, I was returning an Amazon package for my mom, and I see the little app, and I click on it. I go online, and I start with delivery orders. And these delivery orders would be like Jack in the Box, Golden Chick, and it'd just be like a couple feet away, like this little neighborhood. Yeah. And I was just like, this isn't that fun. So then I got bored of that. So I put it on for Uber driving, which my mom was like, be careful, because first off, like, you know, we're coming out of the pandemic. COVID, I'm vaccinated, so it's fine. But like still, is that a hot topic?
Kind of.
But then my mom's like, yeah, just be safe, be careful. So I go pick people up, and I think the first person I pick up was a UTA student, and she's just wanting to go to Target. But she studies, she's doing like a PhD in computer science and this. And so we started talking about stuff related to the ethics and like data and everything, which is another thing I feel like is more interesting on the computer science side to me. But we were just talking and having a great time. And I drop her off, and I'm like, all right, I'll do another one. And I just, you know, I get another guy. He was a SpaceX engineer, and he was telling me how he wants to start. Him and his two buddies are starting, like, opening a brewery in Arlington, downtown Arlington. And it was just like I feel like it would be a great way to kind of broaden your perspective, is just drive around, pick people up.
Yeah, just talk to people.
Yeah, I was rambling a little, or not rambling. I was asking a lot of questions because I'm pretty nosy. And so, you know, I just was like, oh, so what brings you here? Like, where'd you grow up? And all this and that. And
Anna just Uber drives to find friends.
Yeah, I need some friends, so that's how I make them. And then it finally got to this one call. And I don't know if it's just bad, like on my part, I didn't see where the destination was, but it was to Joe Pool Lake, which is like 30 minutes out. Tons of traffic because that's a huge place for 4th of July.
Yeah.
And I had already like accepted it. So I was just like, oh no, like I'll show up to this place. I'm literally in like the boonies of Arlington at like this really sketch area. I pick people up and they're lugging in like boxes of Corona beers in my car. And I'm just like, hi.
I didn't want to Uber drive in the first place.
Yeah. And every time they would ask me like, why are you driving? And I was like, oh, I actually am interning there and I'm working on the back end part. So I just wanted to see, you know, if anything cool comes out of what everyone's doing.
What are you doing?
Yeah. But then I get lugged out. There's tons of traffic. I'm literally standstill for like a whole hour with this guy in the back, and he's not super talkative. So, you know, we're already exhausted all my questions, and he actually was braiding his hair in the back. And he was like, ma'am, he said, miss. He's like, have you ever had anyone braid their hair in your car? And I was like, no. First time. And that was like kind of the extent of the conversation the whole time. That was just it. But yeah, that was pretty fun. I haven't done it since, just because I was so tired. It's like, you know, driving around. I guess for people like Annie, she likes to drive, so that's good for her.
Yeah, people that like to drive.
I get so tired. I've said before, I feel like I get greasier when I drive.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Okay, next.
Okay, well, I think that's really all we have for you. We'll probably end
on that note.
Your greasy driving note. We'll end on our unnamed segment that we have.
Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, so this week, well, I guess every week, we're going to try to do a crazy job that we found that's actually a thing. Last week we talked about the dice inspector, quality inspector that they have at casinos.
Dude.
And do you want to introduce this one? Or
this one, Okay. So, well, first off, my sister came up with a potential name for the segment. She said we could call it Quirky Careers.
Yeah.
Which,
I think it sounds pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
It could be a little too like cliche or
maybe we can
cheesy.
show like test names with our 0 Instagram followers.
Yeah.
Put a poll up there.
Y'all message us on Instagram, and if you come up with a better name, we're all for it.
Well, message us today, Wednesday, July 28th. Even though this podcast is dropping September 4th. And if you don't message us today, we won't take your input.
Yep. So, unless you just happen upon.
Yeah.
But the one we have today is the one that we have today is called a scuba diving pizza delivery man. That's an actual job.
That's crazy.
And it says,
I feel like the pizza would get soggy.
Wait, dude, it's funny. I actually saw a YouTube video. So this guy, Ryan Trahan, one of the guys that says like a dream guest, he did a video where he stayed in an underwater hotel. I think that's what this article is referring to.
Yeah, it's called Jules Undersea Lodge, and this guy delivers pizza to it.
He scuba dives, and he puts like fresh pizza into like a chest.
Yeah.
That like is waterproof, and he scuba
like
dives down.
Really nice and sealed.
Yeah. His name is Rob Doyle. It's just one guy. So if you want to be a protege of him.
Yeah, you could probably be his intern or something, or apprentice.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's one option. This is in Key Largo, Florida. Seek out Rob Doyle for Jules Undersea Lodge.
Tell them we sent you.
Yeah, tell them Finding Zeal sent you.
He'll be confused.
Yeah, he'll be very confused.
Use code Finding Zeal for 10% off your pizza.
No, we don't have any support down there yet.
Not yet, but maybe one day.
Hey, our dream place to stay would be Jules Undersea Lodge.
Yep.
That's our dream place to do a podcast.
We could do an underwater podcast.
Yeah, with some underwater pizza.
Feels like I'm underwater with these headphones on, to be honest.
Rob Doyle, we're shouting you out right now.
Yes. We'll tag you in some sort of Instagram post in the future and respond to us.
Yeah. But I think that's all we have.
Yep. Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode. Hannah, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for hosting me.
Yeah, you were a great first guest.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
I learned a lot about you, so I think everybody else did as well.
First time meeting Cohen.
Yeah.
He knows
Yeah.
all the ins and outs.
First time meeting Hannah.
Yeah, hi, Josh.
Anyways, we'll see if Josh remembers this, but it's been Cohen.
It's been Josh.
And thank you for watching.
And thank you for watching Finding Zeal. I forgot it.
Try again.
It's been Cohen.
It's been Josh. And thank you for watching Finding Zeal. Don't we do it together?
Well, okay, one more time. It's been Cohen.
It's been Josh.
And thank you for watching Finding Zeal.
Wow.
See ya.
Very nice.